create a template to help us facilitate a retrospective. In my last video, I went over different icons and different ways a facilitator should know on morale. So today's video is dedicated to like how to create a template for retrospective and how to facilitate retrospective using morale. Welcome back to Aisha Scrum. I'm very happy to have you join my platform. From my existing subscribers and my new subscribers, I welcome you all. And thank you all so much for 6,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. I do not take this all for granted. And if you're interested in mentorship, do not hesitate to email me at admin@aishascrumtech.com. All right, for me to run my retrospective, I need to first get a template, right? Under my Aisha Scrum workspace, the first thing I have to do is to go under the templates and choose the kind of template I will want for my retrospective. And there are multiple templates they have under morale for retrospective. So this is one example of one retrospective morale. They have the sailboat retrospective. They have the like, sad, mad, glad, side, mad. They have like different templates, which you just go to the template and search the one you want. And if you click on the agile, like let me just click on agile. And when you click on the agile, then it also provides you with more different templates under the agile, right? So we have the sailboat, the retrospective, like I'm talking about, stop, start, continue retrospective. If that's the one you want, you can choose it. I like, I wish, I wonder. Those are other different templates you could use. So these are just different templates you can use, and you can also search. Let's say you want a different one, or you've heard about someone use like a different template on morale and you want to use that, you can also just come here and search. It's a good practice to change your retrospective, right? I wouldn't make my retrospective the same every single time because sometimes I can bore the team. But before you change it, just ensure that your team also are actually open for the change and ask the team, oh, what can we do next retrospective? Do you guys want us to use a different template? Or what do you all think? Or you guys just want to maintain the current templates? Because the team will tell you. And another thing that I know that I've done in the past is to introduce like the holidays, right? So we have Halloween coming up. And if you're not use some kind of Halloween template, you can also search that and use some kind of Halloween template theme. So maybe just to get in the spirit of the holiday. And the same thing can go for like Christmas or Thanksgiving and any other holidays you want to incorporate into your retro. It's actually a good practice to include all of that because the people are in that spirit, right? So in this case, I'm going to use the stop, start, and continue. That's one popular template. What I just did is to click on it and I hit create morale. So when I hit create morale, it automatically creates this morale. And the best thing is actually for the team before retrospective is for you to send the link like at least a day or two ahead. So at least the team members can come in here, select the ticket and type in the information before we get to retrospective. That's ideal and it's best. So at least we'll have enough time to have this conversation around the stories that's already, as a story, around these issues that we already have inside the template, right? So best practice, what I've always liked to do is to send the link ahead of time, 2 days ahead of time. Sometimes too, I've seen some Scrum Masters, we already like have that link set up where people can have it throughout the sprints. As they are learning about things, they will go into that link and add all this information they are observing. Sometimes too, like the team can used to like go in there and start including kudos, like who they want to thank and all of that. They do all of that. So that's the first thing. So now that we have the templates created, so now as a facilitator, so what's our role as a Scrum Master, right? Because this video is dedicated to how to facilitate retrospective and basically role-playing retrospective, even though it's by myself, right? So first thing foremost, what you should know as a Scrum Master, have a space created where the team can input their information or they want to add any of their information in that template. It can be any template, right? The next thing when it comes to retrospective, what I've always started with is to do icebreaker, right? As the team are coming up, we'll ask for different icebreakers, and sometimes you can even volunteer and ask the team to do some kind of daddy jokes, if that's the case, or if anyone want to bring about like many icebreakers can be like, oh, tell me one thing about this summer that you wish you would have done and you didn't do. So literally that can start a whole conversation and ask people that who want to go next, but don't impose icebreaker at people. It's not mandatory. People should participate in icebreakers, but actually it's a good way to get people to start talking. And as that's going on, also remind the team to fill in their cards, in this case. So I've already like told those retro just to, if you want to change the title of the template, you just double click on that space and put retro number 1 or the team name or anything, your team in that space. And sometimes you can also put the dates. If that's the case, you can also attach it to the title so you can able to go back in case you're asked for the last retro, right? So then if the team are not familiar with Mora, it's always good to tell them what this box is about. Like in this case, for this template, this is what should we start doing, basically for improvement. This is like the action item column, right? The improvement for the action item column, and then they can double tax on this space and everyone can input their own information, right? And what situation should we adapt to? What experiment should we try next? So that's basically for next sprint. And you as the facilitator, you have to explain this to the team so they will know what each box means, right? And this next box is saying, what should we stop doing? Basically, right now, what are we doing that's not working and we can stop doing, right? Or what is not working very well? Basically, any issue that you encounter during the sprints, what happened, you can also input that in the space. And it's very important for you to explain all of this to the team so the team will know what to put in which space. For every template, not only this is just an example, for every template you will introduce to the team, what's not having the desired outcome. Basically, what have we tried last sprint or the sprint that just ended and we didn't get what we are looking for. So in this space, they input all of that, right? And in this place, basically continue what means like what have been going well, what went well, right? What should we continue doing? Basically, this is what went well, what did not go well, and the action to take next. That's what this just means in another word. But the prompt question here, which will help the team hopefully to know what to put in each space, but it's also a good practice for you also to at least take a minute and explain it to the team, right? So what do we want to keep trying or testing, what is helping us make progress? So basically in this space, what goes well. I also like to tell the team to also put kudos, right? Sometimes you can even do this. Maybe there's a different space you have on Confluence in a team where you have a kudos space where people can come in and give each other kudos that help each other in the team. And before we even go into everything else in the board, that's always a place to start, right? So let's say now the team are also, as we're doing the icebreakers, this link already been given to the team and the team are already having conversation. We're talking about these nice things about these icebreakers. And then it's always one thing you should do as a facilitator is to time box it. Like the timer right here, as everyone is talking, like give 5 minutes just to time box the event, right? Because the time box is very important. We don't just want to explain and talk when we're going to do spend 20 minutes just an icebreaker alone, when you already have maybe an hour, 30 minutes, or maybe an hour for the retro. That's not a good thing, right? It's always good to control each of the agenda, right? Where we follow each of the outline for the agenda for the session. So that's where the timer will help you a lot as a facilitator, right? Because like I said, this meeting is about us knowing what to do, when and how as a Scrum Master, right? So time boxing everything is very, very good. That's one thing I know that helped me keep me in line to ensure that we're addressing things as we are going, right? So then after you explain all of that, which I already did, right? So the next thing is to start with team health, right? So what I would do then, okay, team, so now that you all have the link, please take the next 5 or 10 minutes, which I'm going to start the timer to fill in your cards and discuss in your own opinion or in your own words how this last sprint was, and they'll go ahead and do that. So then as they're doing that, I also would like to say, okay, now that you're done with that, let's just use 1 or 5 minutes to talk about our team health. So let's use emojis, and that's where we'll come in this space. We have different emojis, right? If I click on image, It's not loading here, but I know there's a lot of images that can show here. And the team can use different icons or emoji to basically describe how they feel. That's one thing I like about Moral is we can use that so the team can basically explain in the emoji how they are currently feeling. To be honest, this is also very helpful because then you not only focus on delivery, but also the overall well-being of the team, which in return will reflect on their delivery, right? Because that's very, very important. So then we use like 2 minutes too, then people will start using different emojis. And based on that, we're also going to have some kind of conversation around those emojis on how they are feeling, And if the morale is too low, that's something hopefully too we can address when we get to what we can improve, As the facilitator, I'm taking note on that, and ask people, not the work, but overall, what are some things that I see you put yourself as sad emoji? Let's talk about more about why you're sad. Or what are some things that's making you sad, So, who else feels this way? Who else feel differently? That alone can prompt a lot of conversation around that, you know. Saying that's done, they will now say, okay, now we're done with that, the health check. So thank you all for sharing, because that's really nice that they're sharing about how they feel, right? So the next thing we're going to talk about is the kudos, right? The kudos is like when as people are giving their kudos, I'm sure sometimes they write it, sometimes they say it out loud, which is fine. And me as the facilitator, as they're giving their kudos, I'm just using my celebratory emoji. So tada, it gives like that. So I don't know why it's not ringing. So then I'll use those emoji like to celebrate people, just to show like, okay, we appreciate you. Thank you for going out of your way to support this person. Thank you for the extra time you took to help resolve that defect. Thank you for taking your time working extra late to help that release get to delivered, So all these different kudos we give to the team members, right? And when that's done, then we now go to I always start with what have been going well. I always like to start nice. So hopefully then people can get into that nice. I don't like to start with what didn't go well, because to be honest, I would like to continue that momentum going from what the team think. But of course, if the team just jump in also want to talk about what didn't go well, they can go ahead. And from there on, the goal is to group tickets that are related. I feel like that's much better when people are saying the same thing that's related. Oh, team have been so collaborative. Team have been conversing, communicating very well. All those things are related to team communication and collaboration. Anything else those are related, I group them all to one space. And when someone say that, oh, we completed our tasks in time, another one writes, oh, team, job well done in completing the stories on time. Kudos to the team for closing the tasks just on time. All those things are related, although it's said differently, it's related, group them all into one. Whoa, that's the time up sound, which is nice. Yeah, it gives you time up sound. So then group things that are related, and after that, ask the team. All right, so now that we group what's related, so who would like to speak on this? The team, then hopefully they'll start to talk about it, and then let them do most of the talking, right? Don't go in there and start basically talking or giving your own opinion or your own thinking. It's not about you, it's about the team, right? So you, the facilitator, have to basically step back a little and let the team do the conversing, right? Because the goal is to get them to see the problem, right? And come from discuss the different ways how they can try a solution for themselves, right? But at any given point, as the mediator, the facilitator, you see something you want to call out, of course you can, but for the most part, just try to get them to lead the conversation where they will take off from there, Let's say one person have been the one talking the whole time, this one person is talking, and everyone else is quiet. And that's where you're going to start calling names. Like, oh, by the way, Aisha, what do you think? What do you think about this area, about the team completing the tasks on time? What's your thought on that? And of course, that person will talk because you call them and you ask them an open-ended question. that will lead them to want to explain and discuss what did they think, right? And from there on, they will go if everyone give their inputs. And then the next thing I always would like to do is to ask, okay, what are some things that have been going well that's not written on the board, right? What are some things that have been going well that's not written on the sticky notes, that's not written anywhere in the board right now that we would like to talk about, right? Because sometimes team might be a little bit hesitant to write things on the board, which is okay, but it's also good to ask people's opinion about everything else beyond what's written on the board, right? So that they can also explain, like, oh yeah, by the way, I just remember this, and they will talk more about that. And sometimes they're talking more, I will ask, like, oh, is it okay for you to put a sticky note and add that on the board? 9 out of 10, they always say yes. Okay, I'll add that in. But the most important thing is that they are conversing and they are talking about it, right? So, all right. So the next thing is, do we have anything to add? What have been going well? No? All right. So now let's move on what we can improve or what are some things that didn't go well in this sprint. Same steps, group things that are related. Then you now ask the team, okay, I've seen this on the board. We had issues with getting back our story early from this team. So how did that impact affected us in the last sprint, looking at what's in the board and you ask the question, right? And then hopefully someone will say something, but if no one said anything, then you'll call someone's name that have not say anything, right? And ask them what's their opinion, what they think, And then from there on, the next person too can hopefully explain, and the next one can explain and discuss. All right, so now that we've discussed all of these challenges and things that we've done, what are some things we can do as a team to improve in the next sprint? I see that we already had some stuff added in this space, but what can we do to ensure that this same issue that happened here will not happen in the next sprint, right? So if you see sometimes some words in here are similar to what have happened, what we can stop, you can also group them and delete them. And by the way, if you want to type on here, you just double click on it. I think I showed it in my last video, and you just type. That's how you type. You just double click and you type. And if you want more card, you just double click. More card will be selected. More tickets will show up. It's the same thing here. You just double click, more tickets will show up, And to group things that I've been seeing, you just like move this here and you just move that right next to it. That's how I group things that are related right there. So you see, so that's how I group things that are related. You just click and drag and move it, and you group things that are related. You click and drag. For things that are similar on this side, you click and drag, and that are related, you click and drag. Things that are related, so that the team can able to speak on when they are talking, they're basically speaking on things that are related in that one space where they don't have to like touch on each one of those cards. So it's actually very good to group stuff that are related. So I've always done this for my retro and I've always been so effective, And also time box each discussion, right? Time box when they are discussing around what we can improve, time box what we can discuss about the action item, right? So sometimes some cards that they've already discussed what we can improve, some of them might have to be pulled to the what we can start doing. That's important. So another thing when it comes to an action item, it is very important for us to always coach the team to vote on an action item that they themselves can work on, right? Not an action item about access issue, because sometimes those can affect the sprint, right? Where they are having issues with access or they have networking issue and all of that, then that led to them not unable to complete the task. That's okay. That's okay that's what happened in what didn't go well. But when it comes to action item, that's not something that we can improve on, right? Because when it comes to access and following up with the IT support and all of that, that's something beyond the team. So that's some things you should look out for as a Scrum Master, that in the action item area, it's not something that the team are going to be selecting to be the action item that basically they can even work on it, right? So it's something you should always focus on to ensure that what's being voted for action item is something that, or an issue that the team can actually work towards and improve, look out for that. That's very important, because sometimes you'll see them select something like, oh, Having an access issue, yes, I understand that, but that's not something we have to improve. Unfortunately, we have to still follow the company procedures and steps needed for that, like filing a incident ticket, following up with the IT support and all of that. That's just the norm, right? So an example of an action item can be, or when the team stated that dev and QA collaboration not in line, right? Or when they say developers, not everyone participating in estimation, or the team's acceptance criteria was not clear, right? So when they start listing all those things, that's why they failed in the sprint, and that's something for sure we can bring up today, what we can start doing and vote on it, So then at the end, I already showed you in the last video how to select a vote. You just have to hit voting and start voting session, which I've showed you all in the last video. And you just choose the sticky note in the selected space you want, and you go and hit that voting in that. If you don't know in detail how to do that, watch my last video on facilitator morale. You'll definitely see how to start the voting session in the space and all of that. So now let's say now you have like two action items. One of them is acceptance criteria not clear, and the other one is team, not all team are participating in estimation, So if those are the two action items, then the question is, okay, who's going to be the action owner, right? And that's where we're going to know for acceptance criteria not clear. For sure, that's something hopefully the PO going to be the action owner for that. And then what I will do is to go in there and type like action owner, so and so, their name, right? Put the person's name on it underneath that particular tax that voted the highest, or the area that's similar that was voted the highest, right? We'll put underneath there the action owner. It's very important to know the action owner, because then later on, if you go to Jira to input that ticket, right? So that you're able to assign it to someone that will ensure that the team are able to do that. Maybe in the action item, the user story notes, acceptance criteria not clear, maybe you might have to do maybe one more extra backlog refinements. Maybe if you're just doing it once in every 2 weeks, you might have to increase it to weekly, right? So then the PO can have more time to now describe and explain the business requirements to the team. So the team will have more opportunity and more time to ask questions around it, right? Adjust and readjust as it fits, right? So that's just one example. And then let's say the team, the other one about the team not estimating, that as a product, as Scrum Master, we have to ensure and encourage everyone to participate in the estimation. And the action owner for that one might be us, right? The Scrum Master, right? To ensure that we either will do some kind of workshop on what is estimation, why do we estimate, and who participate in estimation, right? So by doing that workshop, then people maybe can have better understanding and the purpose of doing it. And then during the sprint planning, maybe we can introduce agile planning poker or any planning poker tool, so that we ensure that each team member will enter and give their own votes, right? In that case, the action owner will be us, the Scrum Master, right? Because we are the one doing all these improvement items to improve in the next 2 weeks. So those are all the different things you look for as you being the facilitator, as a Scrum Master, right? Get the team to talk, get the team to collaborate, get the team to come together and vote on what they want to improve on, and get the team to know what's the problem and look for different ways I want to give that solution. And if at that moment during retrospective, you don't know how to solution for it, we still should appoint someone that will reach out to other SMEs or reach out to other people that can better help or support the team. Right. So overall, that's what you do during retrospective. This demo about how to facilitate retrospective have been helpful for you all. I know I have different videos on what's retrospective and what are some things that happen in retrospective, but this video will help you to know what are some things you can do during retrospective. How can you better support your team? And if you've been finding this valuable, like and subscribe to my channel and share to other agilists. I really, really will appreciate it. My goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers by next year of August. So please kindly share and like this page. And if you're interested in mentorship, do not hesitate to email me at admin@aishascrumtech.com. Thank you all for watching, and see you all again in my next video.